Everybody, welcome to Peak Pros Podcast episode number, I want to say we're at 10 now. Today we are very lucky to have one of my close friends here in Connecticut. His name is Ryan Bean. He's a college tennis player, he's a tennis pro, and now he's Director of Development over at the Milford Indoor Tennis. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brad.
Yeah.
Excited to be here, excited to talk to you. I know we've had discussions on our podcast, so I'm excited to jump on yours and get into racket sports with you and also talk about physical therapy.
Yeah, so people are probably like, why is Brian getting Ryan on the show, this tennis guy over here? But the truth is, why not? I mean, Ryan can talk to us about one of the greatest, I'm going to say tennis is one of the greatest sports of all time, but there's a whole slew of racket sports that he's going to talk about today, and I think it's an awesome group of sports that are healthy, and they're healthy for so many reasons. So we're going to start over here and see, where do you want to start?
I mean, I know we can talk about anything. You want to talk about what's going on at the club? I mean, why did we sit down? Why did you and I want to sit down and talk anyways in the first place?
Well, so, the title of, we're sitting here at Peak Performance Therapy and Wellness, and, when I go back to way back when I was like, what should I call this place? I want to start this place that I'm going to work, a physical therapy practice. But I had to throw wellness in there because wellness is, to me, one of the most important pieces of it all. And so, especially during this is 2021, we've just been through probably the hardest year of my life in certain ways, at least, or one of the weirdest years, maybe we'll call it. But all these racket sports are a great outlet, if you will, and a healthy outlet to get people going and get them more active and having fun again, which unfortunately over the last year it's been like, how do you go have fun?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And over at the club, we've seen a growth in basically all of our programs. We brought pickleball, which we'll talk about. We brought that into our facility, kind of full time for the first time this year. That's going really well. But to your point, as far as wellness, it's really important that people, especially in the pandemic, but just in general, they have outlets. I think that's a really good word to use, to be active and stay healthy. And I think it's very easy, especially in the days that we're living in right now, to kind of shelter in place and not, people might create their small little bubbles, but people are afraid to go out, a lot of times, and because of that, they're not being active, they're not being healthy, and, that kind of can lead you down another road that isn't so bright and sunny, right?
Exactly.
So I've taught professionally for, should we date ourselves? Probably around 20 years now.
Yeah.
What I love about tennis is where I originally started was it's a great sport to go out and be active, no matter what your experience level is, whether you've never played before and you're a kid to whether you've never played before and you're an adult in your 30s, 40s, 50s. We get all different types of clientele that come in, and I think that's what's great about the sport in general.
Have you had people who come in and they're like, I just turned 50 and I want to try something new, but I'm a little bit nervous, like I have kind of a bad back and my right knee bothers me a lot. Have you had these people come in and actually seen the results where they actually, the body didn't bother them nearly as much as they thought, and yet they had a blast doing it?
Yeah, honestly, from the wide spectrum of people, again, like different ages, we'll get middle-aged people who come in who are looking to be active, right? It's, people a lot of the times want to be active, but they don't necessarily know how or where to reach out to. So, I mean, we have great programs for our adults. We have an introduction to tennis program that runs, 2 times a week during the night, which over at our club we're really active during the night as well.
Okay.
On Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 and 7 to 8, and on Sundays in the mornings. The great thing about our staff at the club is that they will progress whatever instruction needs to be administered to a player. So for instance, if you come in and you've played for a long time, but you have these aches and pains, they're going to progress their drills and games to your level and your ability to move, which is great. And then also too, we found that we get a lot of pickleball players that are starting, for those of you who don't know what pickleball is.
Yes, hold that thought. I actually don't even really know what pickleball is.
Yeah.
I hear about it all the time though. I want to say it's gaining in popularity like tenfold over the past 5 or 10 years. But
Yep.
can you just dumb it down for me and our audience who doesn't know what pickleball is?
Yes, for sure. So it is a paddle sport. So you have, it's mostly played in doubles. So that means you've got 2 players versus 2 players.
Okay.
It is in a much smaller court than a tennis court. And, there's a net that divides both sides. And, it is the fastest growing sport in the country.
Oh, cool.
And that has probably been for the last 5 years. And I think one of the reasons, I think there's 2 reasons why it's the fastest growing sport is, number one, it's a very social game, okay? So, you might go and play in an open play, which means just a time where people can show up to play randomly. And you might go and play, and you might play a couple games and then sit out and relax and then come back in, whereas tennis, it's more like boom, 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 you're going. The other thing, and the reason I think it's even more popular, is it's easy to play, all right? Whether you are athletic or not, it is very easy to control a paddle that is this big as opposed to maybe a tennis racket that's a little bit bigger. The equipment, because of the court size, it's much easier to cover for maybe players that don't have as good mobility moving side to side.
Okay.
And the ball, it's kind of like a wiffle ball on steroids. So it's a little bit thicker, it's a little bit more hardy, but there's holes in it. So because of the size of the holes, the ball can only go so fast. So it kind of neutralizes some of the power game.
Okay.
Pickleball is a much more it's a much more finesse game. So you got to learn to hit what they call dinks, which is in certain spots. But dumbing it down, yes, it's a paddle game. It's super fun. It's very easy to play, and it's very social.
So here I am, the PT, and of course my brain is thinking, oh yeah, that's very different and healthier on the body because you're not going as big, you're not covering such a huge range. You got 4 people on the court instead of just 2, so you have a partner who can chase down certain things. And there's probably it's a compressed court, it sounds like, so there's not as much chasing down a lob or things like that.
Yeah.
And then in comparison to another sport that's very popular among the higher level players, I'd say, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, is paddle or platform tennis.
Yep, so paddle, or some people call it platform tennis, it's played outdoors. You basically are playing in a cage where you've got 4 sides of screen,
Okay.
metal screen. That is much more taxing on your body.
Yep.
The ground that you're playing on, it doesn't have a lot of give.
Right.
It's gritty.
Yeah, which I've played a couple times.
Yep.
It really grabs your shoes.
It does.
Which is good. Actually, it's heated too, right?
It is heated, yep,
So,
because people can play
you
with
can,
snow.
yeah, which is awesome. But it's so, sliding is actually probably better on your joint, your knees or your hips, than the abrupt or abrasive stop that can take place with those gritty floors. So,
absolutely.
not to say you shouldn't play paddle or platform, but it's a little less forgiving. You got a heavier paddle, heavier ball, and it's cold. It's usually very cold because it's more popular in the winter.
Yeah, no, like you said, it's much more difficult on your body. The equipment, especially the paddle, is much heavier. It's much thicker. There's holes in it, but you're basically playing with a piece of wood.
Right.
And the ball, although it does get heated up from just moving around and playing, it's a much heavier ball. So you see a lot of players that get that tennis elbow condition. But it is a very popular sport. Within the state of Connecticut. You've got your tennis, you've got your pickleball, and you've got your paddle. And during this time of year, as it's just slowly getting into the spring, it's probably one of the more popular sports. A lot of my players at the club, you don't see them at the club on Thursdays because they're playing paddle. They're playing their leagues outside.
That's funny.
And you can actually, although you see a lot of advanced players playing it, you actually see a lot of intermediate players that get into it. I have multiple women who play during the day over at the club with tennis that they play a ton of paddle as well, and they play a lot of it.
Nice. That's awesome. So you mentioned the social component of pickleball. Can you talk to us a little bit about why it's safe, or so many people are still nervous and leery about going out, but can you sort of take some of that fear away and show people how and why it's safe to play tennis at Milford Indoor Tennis, but also safe and healthy to get out and play, and whether it's pickleball or any of these things?
Yeah, so just like I'm sure any club in the state, we work really closely with the Milford, the township, as far as regulations and what we can and cannot do. Our number one focus is making sure that our staff and our players and our customers are safe at all times. So, we have hand sanitizers on all the courts. There is a mandated mask, just like anywhere else, whether you're in the facility, on the courts or off the courts, you have to wear masks.
Yeah.
We were really excited at the beginning. In the fall, we had, it's called a REMI Halo ionization system put into our HVAC. We're one of the only clubs in the area. I don't think there's a ton up here in the Madison area, but down in Milford, we have an HVAC system. So we have air conditioning in the summer, we have heat obviously during the winter, and we have that system into that HVAC system. So we're breathing clean, fresh air. You don't have that moldy smell that a lot of times you see when you go into older facilities. We also have that system put into our brick and mortar as well. So the system kills bacteria and viruses. If you were to sneeze with a mask off, it's supposed to kill stuff within a 3-foot radius. So me personally, like I said, I've done this profession for a long time. I wouldn't put myself at risk if I didn't feel comfortable out there. So we have seen, as obviously people are getting vaccinated as well, an uptick, but we've been really busy all winter, and we try to provide everybody a safe environment.
Yeah, and as we say this today, I heard the positivity rate is 1.86 or something in the state of Connecticut, which is amazing. So we're doing, and then we're also at a point where it's almost 21% of the state has already gotten at least one shot, which is awesome. So great. We're doing good in the state.
Yep.
And the truth is, I feel that doubles, whether it's pickle or tennis, you're really not that close to your partner a lot of the time. So even if you are a little bit fearful, you can kind of know that that's why tennis and golf have taken off in the past year, more so than some of the other sports, because it's a safe. It's a safe environment in the grand scheme of things. Everything we do has risk, whether it's driving a car, getting on an airplane, or playing a tennis match.
Absolutely.
But if you want to compare it to football, basketball, ice hockey, there's definitely a reason that tennis has grown in pickleball.
Yeah, you make a really good point. We are probably the safest sport that you can do besides golf, I would say.
Right.
But you can play tennis, pickleball, paddle all year round, where golf is obviously only in the warmer months. So we're excited that we are able to offer great programming to our players at the club and to people who are interested in coming in a safe environment.
Yeah. So first of all, side note, where's it pickleball come from? What's the name?
Oh my God, you know what? I've been wondering that. I have no idea.
Maybe you get stuck in a pickle or something? I don't know.
If you know that answer, put it in the comments, please.
Speaking of comments,
yes.
Just real quick, how do people learn about what you all are offering? What's your website? What's your, I know you guys have an awesome presence on Instagram and Facebook. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
For sure. We have a concerted effort to make sure that people that play at the club, and even the people that don't, they know who we are at the club. They know what we have to offer. We do monthly newsletters to everybody who signs up for our newsletters that talk about, among other things, health and wellness, different resources that we try to offer our players through that. We have a really strong presence on Instagram and Facebook, which I think is really important. For players that play at our club, it's not just about the time that they spend within our facility. It's about being able to educate them outside and showing everybody that we're invested in their long-term goals and not just when they're coming for lessons, right? So, on Instagram, we do a lot of IGTV, which for those who don't know what that is, it's just Instagram TV. We go live. I actually went live this morning at the club, just to show what's going on. One of the other pros and I, we do a weekly show. It's actually called Our Show because we didn't come up with any other idea as far as a title, but Philip and I, we sit down and we talk once a week about what's going on in the tennis world, whether it be stuff that's going on in the club or worldwide. The Australian Open just finished, so we got a chance to talk about that. We also go out on the road. We came and interviewed you. That's stuff that we do on Instagram. We also post weekly instructional videos. Some are just tips of the week that might be a couple minutes. Sometimes we'll get in depth in analysis. And again, those could be 15 to 20 minutes long. We have a YouTube channel as well, which we just started in the fall, and we're getting really good feedback from that. And I think it's important that again, our players have resources to better themselves, whether they're on the facility or not. And then we have a retooled website. You can find us at www.milfordindoortennis.com, the longest tagline ever. milfordindoortennis.com to find all the latest and greatest, whether it's videos, promotions.
How do they find you on social media?
Yeah, social media, so Facebook / Milford Indoor Tennis, very easy.
Okay.
Also Instagram / Milford Indoor Tennis, or you can just search Milford Indoor Tennis on YouTube as well. As like I said, we update all of this stuff weekly and try to, again, interact with our players as much as possible.
Now, one of the things that I have run into over the years with racket clubs is the cost and what's involved with that. Do you guys have a high membership, like an annual fee to be a member there, or like how does that work?
That's a really good question. There are a lot of membership, or a lot of clubs that are membership driven. We are actually one of I'd say a handful that are not.
Oh wow!
Which is great. So there are no monthly membership fees. There is no if you were to wanted to come and you've never played at the club and you wanted to come and do a clinic like a point play, which is one of our most popular clinics, there's no upcharge because you're not a member. Everything is one flat rate depending on what you're doing, whether you play at the club a lot or you're a first timer. So I think that's also something that players who might not have been to the facility, it's very inviting to come to.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
No, that's a really good question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, what was the other thing I want to ask you about?
Oh, actually, while you're thinking of that, I totally forgot to mention too. One of the really fun and exciting things that we do is we also feature a lot of our players on our social media, which is awesome. So we just started in the fall. It's our junior clinic player of the week, and we have a lot of fun with it. Our junior clinic director, Aaron Hyde, who does a phenomenal job at the club. If you do have kids that are looking to play and Milford is within your radius, he's a great guy, good contact. But Aaron and I work together. He gets to choose what player he thinks gives maximum effort and has a great time and a good attitude on the court. We shoot video of the kid playing on the court. We do a promotional video for that player, and we do it every week. We release it on Friday. We actually have one that's coming up in this afternoon. So it's just a super fun way to highlight our players at the club, and we get a lot of great feedback. The kids love it. Parents love it. It's something cool about seeing your child and in the bright lights and being honored like that. So that's another fun thing that we do.
Yeah, so while we're talking tennis, just slowly but quickly go through, like I know cardio tennis, for instance. That's something that you used to do a lot. I don't know if you still do cardio or is it a little bit different, but that was always something cool that I never knew about. When I was really growing up and teaching in my years that I taught, like it really wasn't that big of a thing. And I've heard so many people who love it because it's, they want to get a workout and they're kind of good at tennis, but they're not, they're learning the sport. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the different types of things that people can sign up to do?
Absolutely, yeah. So there's a couple of things. If you, like I mentioned before, if you've never played tennis or pickleball, we have introduction programs for either one, and we offer them multiple times during the weeks. Cardio is still a thing, but it is not as popular as it used to be, and you're correct. Probably within the last 5 years that has changed, but for a good amount of time, cardio tennis that's what it was all about. It's for players that might not even have played tennis before, but are looking for a great workout, and an alternate way to get a great workout. We still offer cardios, but we actually offer, I actually just started what's called a power hour, which is more focused on strength training and interval training.
So it's different than what you used to do when we were in college.
Yeah, exactly. Completely different.
Just not him.
Exactly, yeah. I don't even know what you're talking about. Was there something called the Century Club too? I think.
Oh,
I don't know what that was either. But yeah, so I offer a power hour. It's an hour of non-stop strength training. So like a lot of times in tennis, we focus on explosion, right? First step, understanding the use of your core and your legs and how that generates power instead of just using your arm. So a lot of the drills that we do in this fast-paced, music-driven class is stuff where it's a lot of explosions, a lot of leg workout. You might have a tennis racket in your hand, you might not. That's starting to become a lot more popular, but our most popular clinic by far is our point plays.
Wait,
Yes.
power hour.
Yes.
Are there balls?
Yes.
So you're hitting some balls.
Oh, you're hitting tennis balls.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no. You're
You're
hitting
doing strength.
Yep, you're doing
Your
strength.
heart rate's pounding, but you're hitting some balls.
Yes,
here and there as
yes,
well.
that's a good question. So it's a combination. It's an hour class, so we do about a 5 to 8
Hence the
minute.
power hour.
Yes, we're doing a 5 to 8 minute warm up.
Okay.
Which includes ladder work, dynamic stretching. Obviously not static stretching. You always want a dynamic stretch when you start stuff, right? You don't want to pull these things when you're cold and tight. So that we do that. Then I'll do a lot of fed ball drills where you might hit 2 or 3 shots, and then on your way back into the line, you're doing ladder work, or you're doing some type of strengthening issue there.
Yep.
Then after that, we'll break off and we'll do circuits. So you might be, one of the circuit stations might be hitting a tennis ball, while the others might be doing squat jumps or some type of court. And then the last about 15 minutes is all live ball play. So once your body is done and they don't want to do it anymore, then we ask them to play. And that's actually a great strategy because it's hard to play tennis when you're tired. Mm-hmm. So we talk a lot about mental stuff, where do you go mentally when you're that tired? Whether it's focusing on a certain thought or whatever, just to keep your body moving. And then we do a slow cool down as well. We don't just stop, we slow our heart rates down, and that's when we do our static stretching. So the power hour has been great. We just started it about a month ago, really good, busy with that. Our point plays are our most popular. And if you were to look at any club, honestly, in the state, their point plays are going to be the most popular. They're fast-paced, but they're not as intense as what we were just talking about. It's all doubles, and it's all doubles fast point plays. So it's kind of like a king of the court kind of aspect with that. And then as far as our higher level players that might not be looking for clinic stuff, we offer early bird programs, which is super popular. If you're an early bird, and whether you play at like a 3-0 level to all the way up to a 5-0 level, which is a pretty advanced level, we have options. Our Monday, Wednesday, Friday early birds program, it's from 7 to 9 in the morning, $15 to play for 2 hours.
Oh, geez,
it's ridiculous.
You're not going to get that deal anywhere.
No.
And you're not going to get that much great competition. So
that's
talk to me about that format real briefly.
Yep, so it's like a round-robin format. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays are for our 3-0 to 4-0 players, which is your intermediate level players in a club venue. And they do a round robin. So, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do something for our higher level players. So our 4 or 5 level players, former collegiate players or high level club players, where it's the same type of thing. We do a lot more singles in that aspect on those Tuesdays and Thursdays, but we also do doubles. So those are fun things. And I think the only other thing I would mention is, we have USTA teams. USTA is kind of like our national United States Tennis Association, our national association in which a lot of club players play on teams, and they compete against other people in the state. That has just been brought back.
Okay.
The USTA is, we actually had a USTA match going on when I left the club today, which is a great venue if you're a competitive person and you are getting into the sport. It's a great way to meet new people as well and compete. So all that stuff started.
How many tennis courts do you have there?
So we have 5 tennis courts.
Okay.
Of those 5, we actually use one of them, if it's not being used for tennis, to break up and to use 2 pickleball courts.
Okay.
There we have the lines taped out as well. So we're very busy. As far as the juniors go too, we do have a junior tennis team, and it's the same type of thing within the USTA. So we have a plethora of opportunities for everybody. We also offer private lessons and semi-privates. I coach a lot of private group lessons that I've done for years and years. But yeah, I mean, if you have people who are looking for something new or getting back into something and to stay active with, there's nothing safer and more fun than coming out and playing a paddle or a racket sport. and indoors is really no different than outdoors with all the precautions that we've taken. So.
Yeah, and you guys do operate in the summertime, right?
Yep, we operate in the summer as well. We actually offer both options. We have 2 outdoor sites as well for people who enjoy playing outdoors, which obviously most people would. But we also, it's great that we have an air-conditioned facility for players that don't want to be in the sun.
Yeah.
And, those 90-something degree days in July and August where, I could go play tennis, but I could also go play indoors and not have to worry about the sun and feel comfortable. We have both options. We run camps in the summer for kids. We run boot camps for adults, all the point plays, tournaments, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. We got it all.
Yeah. So I think for me, the take home, there's 2 things specifically. Obviously, I've known about racket clubs for a long time, being a tennis guy growing up. But you a lot of times you kind of just associate, Milford Indoor Tennis is a place to go play tennis. But it sounds like there's so many things that you can do other than just go play. There's different ways to play. Like I've really just done college tennis and playing with my friends. But there's programs or there's clinics. There's different ways to play to make it more fun. Then there's pickle. You could explore avenues. If you're a tennis player and you're almost bored of it, you could explore paddle or pickle. And that's fun too, that you have some options.
And I think, to that point, you've been in the facility, you were there last week for the first time. There's a feeling that you get walking in that door, and it's a small knit community of players that we have there. They play a lot. We want more players to come, and you should feel at home when you walk into a club. And in my experience, that's kind of few and far between.
Yeah.
And so I feel very lucky to be over at Milford Indoor Tennis, and hope that everybody gets a chance to come out and check it out.
Yeah, awesome, cool, man. Well, I think it's a great place. I've met already, probably 8 to 10 people in just a very small, short span of time, and I'm like, wow, these people are very friendly, warm. The front desk staff has been really nice as well. It seems to be a very family and tight-knit community, which is what you want. And it's clean.
Yeah,
it's safe, it's clean, and it's nice to see that. It's got a nice viewing area from above as well, where you can watch, you can see all 5 courts pretty well.
Yep,
so those are the little things that I think sometimes go a long way.
Yeah, and I think to the point for us and what we try to do with our players is, again, it's not just on the court, it's outside. And one of the reasons why I reached out to you to bring you on was, obviously you guys know how awesome this guy is and how well versed he is in what he does. He's blushing underneath there. But I want, and ownership, we want to offer resources for our players to be happy and healthy, whether that's tennis, whether that's talking to someone about strategy or whatever, or bringing somebody in who knows a lot about taking care of your body. Mm-hmm. And so, you're going to be in the facility for the next 3 or 4 weeks, once a week, just checking in, meeting people, offering your knowledge to them free of charge, which is a great thing. And we're just happy to be able to partnership with people like yourself and businesses like yourself that are willing to do that, and that understand it's not just about the bottom line, it's about offering great experiences, and that's what we're all about. So.
Yep. No, absolutely. So at the end of the day, don't feel like there's just nothing. I go for a hike, I go for a walk with the family. It's great for kids, but it's also great for once your kids are in college and everywhere in between. It's great for I've treated many people or known many people who play into their 70s and 80s. It's a sport, and I don't even know much about pickleball. So that's, I think, going to be my next goal, to try to help push and promote that as something, an opportunity for people to try something new. Learning, it's proven that learning new things helps with longevity, and it helps with happiness. And let's be real, like this last year has really been a little bit depressing and created a lot of isolation. So I think that's one of the reasons why I said, I'm going to reach out to Ryan and see if I can get him to come on here.
And I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, and to your point, it's a great family sport too.
Yeah.
Whether you do pickleball, like kids play pickleball too.
Yeah.
It was a lot more popular back in the day, like doing PE class.
Right.
As far as there, but now it's like blown up.
Yeah.
But it's a great family sport, whether you're doing paddle or pickleball or tennis. And like you said,
some of my greatest memories from like 12 years old or so was playing with my mom, my dad, my sister, and myself doubles
awesome.
right there.
Yep.
And like, and some of my greatest life memories are playing with you and your wife now, and
yep.
a lot of our times in college tennis, so it's really afforded me a lot of different opportunities. It's a great sport. So not only is Ryan the director of operations, but he's an ambassador to the sport of tennis, which I've really appreciated.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. And you and I are kind of going into that next step. I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they're starting to get into it. I know you have 2 young ones as well, and it'll be fun to take that ride as well.
Exactly.
And see what the experience is from the parent side.
Yeah.
Which might not be easy sometimes.
No, it's not. But I've already taught my daughter a little bit when I was doing a fun teaching vacation in Jamaica, and she seems to have a little something on her, so we'll see.
Love it.
I didn't like the heat, but nah.
Oh,
I wish.
goodness. Man, lefty's always making life difficult.
Oh, yeah. So, thanks for tuning in. That was our podcast. You can, don't forget, from my end, www.peakptw.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at Peak Training and Wellness. You can find us on Facebook, our newsletter, etc. It's awesome to have you guys here, but even better today to have Ryan being with us. Thanks, and until next time, take care.